Thank you, Tom, and good afternoon, Ted. Well, let me start with a point that I think Mr O'Brien will agree with, a bipartisan note to get this debate going. That is that this election is a fork in the road when it comes to energy and climate. The Australian people do have a very real choice on May the 3rd. No one could accurately say that both parties have the same positions when it comes to energy. We do have very different plans. On the one hand, our plan, backed by the experts at the CSIRO and our energy operators and regulators. Our plan, which stays the course with an appropriate mix of more renewable energy, backed by storage, backed by gas peaking and firming, backed by household batteries, transmission and a stable system. And the good news is that this is not a trade-off. The same plan, our plan, is the right plan that delivers the cheapest, most reliable form of energy and reduces emissions in this, the critical decade for our planet. And we've made good progress in our first 3 years. 33% renewable energy on the day we came to office, 46% in the last quarter of last year. And renewables are set to overtake coal as the largest source of our electricity this year. That's good progress, but there's more to do, much more to do. And that's why this election is so important. That's why there's so much at stake, because the Liberal Party wants to stop. They want a radical change in direction. They propose the biggest change in our electricity generation ever. They dismiss the advice of the CSIRO, the energy market operator and the other experts. That's the essential difference of approach. We listen to the experts. Mr Dutton and Mr O'Brien think they know better than the experts. And that's why their plan is so risky for our country. Now, the problems with their plan are many. It's a bizarre approach, frankly, which argues that the answer to needing more, cheaper energy now is to introduce the most expensive form of energy in, by their own admission, 12 years' time. And in reality, we all know, it would be much longer than that. But the problems are even greater. The biggest issue would be the lost opportunities in the meantime. The opposition's modelling makes clear, and to their credit, they're clear about it, they see no role for renewables above 54% of our electricity by 2050. Now, let's put this in perspective. I just mentioned in the last quarter we just hit 46% renewables, and we'll pass 54% sometime in the next 2 years. And then the opposition wants to stop. No more. No more renewables installed between 2026 and 2050. Their modelling shows no room for more household batteries, not community, not grid, not household. They admit they want to run our coal-fired power system for longer and harder. Terrible for emissions, bad for prices, diabolical for reliability. Our coal-fired fleet is aged and ageing fast. It's the most precarious part of our energy system. Today, we have 4.7 gigawatts of coal-fired power broken down today. Not a day in the last 2 years hasn't seen a coal-fired power station break down somewhere in Australia. So they think the way to reduce prices is to introduce the most expensive form of energy into Australia, and they think the way to improve reliability is to lean more on the most unreliable part of our system. The LNP nuclear modelling is a heroic effort to try and make an ill-thought-out and risky scheme look vaguely credible. But their modelling crumbles like a sayo in a blender at the lightest scrutiny. Of all the problems with their policy, the most spectacular is that they rely on Australia needing 40% less electricity to make their plan look around 40% cheaper. So their policy is based on no aluminium smelting, no steel making, no new data centres or AI, and an anaemic take-up of EVs by 2050. Now, what if they're wrong? It would leave our energy system dangerously exposed to shocks and see our economy shrink. Over the last Liberal decade, our opponents presided over 4 gigawatts of dispatchable energy leaving the grid, only replaced by 1 gigawatt of new energy. It left our country exposed, but all that would be a Sunday picnic compared to the damage caused by the Liberals' risky plan now. Now, none of this is easy. This transition is occurring against the backdrop of a global energy crisis, the effect of which, of course, we're still feeling today. And it means that energy prices are, of course, higher than I would have or would like them to be. All of us who get electricity bills, and that's pretty much all of us, see that every quarter we live it. We know how tough families are doing. That's why we've delivered 3 rounds of energy bill relief, and this week have made one of our biggest election commitments to help families and businesses get a battery which will help them reduce their power bills permanently. The key way to help families with their energy bills is to keep going with our efforts to get more, cheaper, reliable energy connected to the grid now, today, not next decade. Not to stop that effort, to put a stop sign on all the private investment that's flowing into the Australian energy system while we wait for the most expensive form of energy to be ready, perhaps, if we're lucky, in 12 years' time. That's what's at stake at this election. I want to thank Ted for agreeing to this debate. I want to thank you all for coming and participating in this discussion about what is a key issue on May the 3rd, our different plans for Australia's energy future.
Thank you, Mr Bowen.